Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome to the very first live stream here on Tecknowlogy YouTube channel. This is an experimental thing that I've been doing since last 2-3 days. I did a few test streams over the past couple of days, and you might have seen few notifications also in your YouTube app. So what exactly I'm planning to do here is keeping aside the okay, I think you guys are not seeing me. Yeah. So there I am. So you might have seen the test stream that I did last evening, and I was experimenting with quite a few things with respect to the YouTube streaming using different types of softwares and cameras and things like that. So I thought, let me get it started and have the first live stream up and running before we could figure out all the nitty-gritties, the other stuff. So here it is, the very first live stream on Tecknowlogy YouTube channel. This 4th of June 2017. It's a Sunday, a very special day for all of us here in India, because a very important cricket match, India versus Pakistan, it'll be starting probably in about 45 minutes from now. I know all of you are excited, even I am excited. So I'll try to keep this live stream very short and sweet, considering that it's the very first one. Just like the agenda that I set up yesterday, this live stream is to do with a very casual interactions or discussion related to anything that happened on the photo and the video industry over the last 1 week or 2 weeks. I'm still not sure whether I'll keep it every weekend or fortnightly, but what I'll plan to do over in this live stream is that we'll try to discuss any new camera launches, anything related to apps. This will not be a sort of a review type of stuff, but this will be a video wherein we'll discuss what's happening. I'll be telling you my thoughts, and probably we can discuss here on the chat section here in the YouTube live stream and figure out what's happening and what is your thoughts on the new cameras or the new lenses or any new softwares or apps that has come out. For the sake of this particular live stream, this is the very first one, I've considered two main things to discuss. First one is to do with the two camera launches that happened over the last 1 week, one from Panasonic and one from Canon. And the second one is to do with the DJI Spark, which is an entry-level drone that got released. So I'll try to confine myself for this particular live stream to discuss about those two things and my thoughts on the same. So, but before we proceed, let me have a quick look at all the live chat and all the things if it's going fine. Okay, things seems to be fine. Okay. We have Prashant at Kohli live. Hi, Prashant. Okay, so we'll pick up the messages from the chat as and when we get newer messages. We have Prashant online here on the live chat. Okay, so let me get started with the launches as such. So if you have noticed, the indie filmmaking or the documentary filmmaking industry, the number of cameras that you need to get started with was very less. If you're a DSLR user and if you want to get into the next level, the cameras that are available in the market were of a very high price point. And as of say probably early the Q1 of 2017, there were only a handful of cameras which are available for indie filmmakers. A couple of them from Sony, which is the FS5 and the FS7, and the other one from the Blackmagic, which is the Blackmagic Ursa Mini or Ursa Mini Pro. So there was a huge gap which is there in the industry for the person who wants to up his game and want to basically look at how to give a higher production value and use a lot of higher end cameras and lenses for the production work. So especially the folks like Panasonic and Canon, they had very high-end cameras. Like Panasonic had the Varicam LT. Those are like very expensive cameras. And even the Canon has Canon C300 or even the very high-end C300, C700, if I'm right. So those are all very expensive. So there was not a bridge camera that was available in the market, which a person who is moving from DSLR filmmaking to a indie filmmaking or a documentary filmmaking on a serious level could pick up. So flashback about a couple of months when the NAP was happening in US, Panasonic gave a slight teaser. It didn't tell what camera it is or what are the specs or anything. It kept a small form factor camera under a small white cloth, and they told something new is coming. And the rumor mill went completely berserk, and they were like, people were telling like a mini Varicam is coming or something really exciting is coming. So they did mention that June 2nd as a date when they'll be announcing that particular camera, but that was a starting point for us to expect something new and something affordable that is coming. We'll not compare exactly like how it scores well with the other competitors right now, because as we proceed with the live stream, I will definitely pick up a lot of points when I compare the new cameras with the existing ones. But June 2nd was what was planned for the launch of the new camera from Panasonic. There was nothing announced regarding the camera, and nobody even knew what kind of resolution, what kind of price point it comes with, etc. So while all this was happening, out of nowhere, early last week, Canon released the Canon C200. Yes, Canon C200, a small form factor, high-end camera which is capable of shooting 4K videos, and which sits in between the C100 and the C300. It was just totally unexpected. People didn't expect Canon to release it so soon, or probably there was not much of a rumor that was going on around the C200. So Canon released the C200. The specs were fantastic. It comes with the very fantastic autofocus that most of the other Canon C series cameras comes with, and again it was a 4K camera. So everyone started comparing the C200 with the Ursa Mini Pro, which was the same price factor and all those stuff. So everyone was curious what will happen on June 2nd when Panasonic will release its next camera. So flashback 3 days ago, early in the morning on Saturday, um, Panasonic unveiled this new camera, which is the EVA1. It's a 4K camera released by Panasonic, and it's an absolute fantastic when it comes to the camera. When you're looking at the specs of that particular camera, we can almost call it as a Varicam Lite. Sorry, not even Varicam Lite, because we already have LT. It's a mini Varicam actually. So the specs were fantastic. Now people have started talking about C200 versus EVA1 and all those stuff. So let me show you quickly what exactly these two cameras look like. Okay, this particular camera is the Canon C200, what you're seeing right now on the screen, and this is the Panasonic EVA1. So let me quickly look into the chat thing. We have Prashant, we have Ayush, and we have Chaitanya Patel. Hi guys, I'll pick up your questions and I'll answer it probably by end of this live stream, and we'll take it during that time when we have a quick Q&A at that time. So moving over to the cameras. So as you can see, these two are the new cameras that got launched last week. Fantastic cameras, both are 4K cameras. And coming to the price point, the C200 is priced at around 7,500 US dollars, and the EVA1 approximately around 8,000 US dollars. Both of them are around the same price point and fit fantastically well for somebody who is moving from DSLR into the next level of filmmaking, into more professional level equipment. As you can see, the C200 is priced in between the C100 and the C300. The same is the case with C200 when you compare it with the competitors, which is the FS5 and the FS7 Mark II. The FS5 ships for around 6,000 US dollars, whereas the FS7 is close to around $8,500 to $9,000, and the Mark II is close to about 10,000 US dollars. So here we are talking about the C200, which is C200 and even the EVA, priced exactly in between those two, and fantastic specs. And when it comes to the cameras, one camera which I did mention a couple of minutes back is the Ursa Mini Pro. The Ursa Mini Pro is also a 6,000 US dollar camera, and it's a 4.6K camera. Unlike all of the other ones which are 4K cameras, the Ursa Mini Pro is the 4.6K camera. So now you might be asking, where does all this fit in? What does a new person who's looking into switch to these cameras, what does he have to look forward to and all those stuff. So I let me quickly show you what all the other cameras, how they look like and things like that. So considering that we are having a huge uh, price range all the way from $6,000 to close to about $10,000, uh, what one has to look forward to is what is the main thing, especially the main price bracket that he's comfortable with. Whenever somebody comes to me with a question like what's the best camera to buy, what's the next camera I can pick up, I always tell them pick up the one above whatever you are able to afford now. Because if you're able to afford something X now, just try to save a little bit more and pick up the next best one, because you might pick up something affordable right now, but over a period of next 6 months or 1 year something might get outdated. So that's exactly the case here. So if you're somebody who's looking into some serious filmmaking and want to invest on something like a A7S or probably a GH5 and things like that, and if you're really serious about what you're doing, and if you're planning to take this as a full-time stuff, I would say save a little bit more and pick up one of these cameras. These are definitely long-term investment cameras, and these are expensive. When you're talking about $6,000 camera like FS5 or Asa Mini Pro, these are expensive. So plan for something like that instead of picking up something affordable and lower price cost and later on repenting for it. So what are the key specs of these cameras that we are talking about right now? The Asa Mini Pro shoots at around like 4.6K, and it shoots in cinema DNG. That's one of the key selling point of the Asa Mini Pro, and it's 4.6K sensor, and it has inbuilt ProRes recording options also. So there is no other camera that is available now which can internally record uh, different flavors of ProRes internally in a camera. So Arsa Mini Pro is the only camera which can do that. But when we switch to the next camera on this price scale, the FS5. The FS5 is a 4K camera. Basically, it's a Ultra HD camera. If you're wondering like why we are talking about 4K and Ultra HD, I have a video coming up in a few days time which will talk about the differences between what is a 4K and what is Ultra HD, why we use two different terminologies, what is the resolution difference, and where do we use which particular one. So I might explicitly be telling Ultra HD and 4K, so the differences you'll come to know in a video which is coming up soon. So we're talking about FS5, which is a Ultra HD camera, and it is 8-bit 420 camera. So it is not even close to what a GH5 offers right now, because GH5 from Panasonic, it offers internal 10-bit 422 encoding, but FS5 offers 8-bit 420 and about 100 megabits per second data rate. So FS5, for the price that we pay, is a sort of like a very inferior spec as of now. But if you recall, recently there has been a firmware update which was given by Sony, but that is a paid upgrade, and here you can get get a raw recording capability, which is through external records using the FS5, and it's a paid upgrade. And for what you pay for $6,000, what you are getting is just a 8-bit 420 100 megabits video recording, which is Ultra HD. So moving over next, the C200. The C200 is unique because it offers in-camera RAW. It offers 10-bit or a 12-bit in-camera RAW, and Ultra HD. This is 4K. When I'm talking about 10 or 12-bit RAW, this is a 4K. And Canon has released what is known as Camera Raw Lite, which is a new thing that they have come up with. It is a much lower computer resource friendly codec basically, and they say that it is easier to edit or even color correct or even grade the footages from the camera raw line that they have released with the C200. And in Ultra HD it can do about 150 megabits, and the 2K, which is a full HD thing, it can do about 120 frames per second. That's the highest slow motion you can get in the C200. Again, next, moving over to the EVA. That's one of the key things, and what I'm most excited about. It comes with a 5.6K sensor. It is a much bigger sensor, but it does a 4K output in 60p. So it does 4K 60p internally, and it does 2K in 240 frames per second, which is almost double of what the the Canon C200 can offer. So here you might be seeing on the screen the different cameras that we are talking about, the FS5, the FS7, and the Ursa Mini Pro, as well as the new EVA1 and the Canon C200. So on the specs wise, let me switch over the camera. So on the specs wise, you might have noticed that all of these are 4K cameras, but they come with different price points, all the way from 6,000 to 10,000, what I mentioned. The key thing that you have to notice here is how much important a particular feature is. So are you really keen about the slow motion? Then the 240 frames per second on EVA1 might be a very useful. Even it can do 60p internally in 4K. That might be a very important one. If you're someone who's looking into color grading and color correcting and very high-end production stuff, then definitely Canon RAW. The Canon RAW Lite might be a very important feature for you. That's where the C200 flares against the other ones. But if you're looking for a slightly higher resolution, which is like you might have heard about the concept of cropping or stabilizing using 4K sensors. If you get a footage from a 4K and if you want to downscale it to 1080p for output, you know that when you run a warp stabilizer on a 4K and then downsize it to 1080p, you get absolutely smooth, very stable footages out of the sensor. So if you are looking at something similar result from a 4K output, then definitely Ursa Mini Pro, which has a 4K 4.6K output. If you are using it for a lot of the stabilizing work and all those things, then that might be a right work. Because if you do a lot of gimbal stuff or handheld stuff, then again I personally feel that that type of having a slightly bigger resolution and then downsizing it when you're doing the warp stabilizer and things like that, it will be very helpful. So most of this, except for the FS5 and the FS7, which are Sony and they come with the E mount, all of the other cameras, that's the EVA1, the C200, and the Asa Mini, they are available in the EF mount. EF mount, the Canon EF mount, we have a wide range of lenses which are available in the market, and these are like affordable lenses. So like we are not talking about the silly lenses, the PL mount, and all the stuff. So all these are Super 35 sensors, and like you considering that it has EF mount, you can mount any available Canon lenses or even the third party ones from people like Sigma or probably Tamron and things like that. Even Zeiss make EF fantastic EF mount lenses. So the adaptability is something which you're assured of when you're picking up something like a C200 or Ursa Mini Pro or probably even an EVA1. But the same is not the case with FS7 or FS5 because it's an E-mount and you have to use a different kind of adapters to be able to use EF mount lenses onto the camera. Recording, we spoke about the price point, the 6,000 to 10,000, whatever I've been repeating over the last 5-10 minutes. These are the base prices of the camera. So there are a lot of things which chew up a lot of money when it comes to the pricing. So it's not just a camera, it's a recording media. It could be the addition of external monitor or the cages or probably the mics, the audio stuff that you want, the new mics that you want to fix in, or probably even the rails or mounts, everything. All these take up a lot of money. One of the key things that you have to consider, especially when it comes to the accessories part of it or the essential accessories, is the storage media. When it comes to these two new cameras, they have completely two different types of storage media option that is available. The C200, considering that it records raw, Canon has gone for CFast type of cards. So CFast, one CFast card and one SD card. The CFast card is a must if you're doing a raw recording, and if you're doing that 150 Mbps Ultra HD, then it goes into the SD card. But compared to that, the EVA1 from Panasonic uses two SD card. So it writes into the SD card irrespective of the codec that is available now or the 400 megabits codec that they're planning to release in a future firmware updates. Talking about firmware updates, there has been a lot of speculations about a lot of new features that will be introduced into these cameras, the newer ones, especially the C200 and the EVA1. So you have to be a bit careful when they say that firmware updates and all those things, because a lot of people are taking the paid path for the firmware update stuff. So especially you might have noticed FS5, a lot of new features were released which were a paid firmware upgrade, and a company like Canon, especially when it released the log picture profile for the 5D Mark IV, it charged around $99 US. Same is the case with GH4 and GH5. For the Vlog L, we need to pay about $99 US for the paid upgrade. So for the upgrade, so we need to be very cautious about what could be, because we don't know, because as of now they're not telling whether it's a free upgrade or a paid upgrade. So we need to be very careful about what is that we want from our cameras, and whether these features that are coming up might be paid or free is something we might have to think twice before investing on these cameras. So when it comes to the C200, the CFast card, those are like very expensive, but that's a must for this type of raw shooting that you're doing. But on the contrary, when you see a EVA1, it uses SD card, and SD cards are very affordable now. The new V60 and V90 cards are also coming out, um, which we can use to write the 400 megabits videos, either from the GH5 or probably even from the EVA1 in the future firmware upgrade. So SD cards are affordable, so there your price cuts down. But the same if you compare it with the C200, again the CFast cards are expensive. So those are some of the things that you might have to keep in mind when it comes to new cameras. So something like the Ursa Mini Pro, it has CFast card as well as the SD card options. But when it comes to the Sony FS5, it comes only with one SD card option, whereas the FS7 Mark II, it comes with two XQT cards. Again, these are expensive cards, but this is what is required when you're writing about close to 600 megabits per second data into the memory card. So keep all these things in mind, especially when you're picking up the camera, when you're doing an upgrade, because these are expensive upgrades, but these are long-term upgrades. So keep the memory format also in your mind when you're picking up a camera, whether what memory, what storage option the camera comes with is something which is affordable, or you might end up spending a lot on the storage option itself. So personally, I'm pretty much excited about the Panasonic EVA1 because of the whole fact that it uses two SD card, and it's almost like a bigger brother of the GH5, which I'm currently using. So that's something which I'm looking forward to see when it comes to Bangalore or here in India, to try it out when it's available for demo, or probably even the pickup. So that those are like my thoughts about what are all the new cameras that has come up, what is the feature set it comes with, and also what you need to look forward to, especially when it comes to picking up these cameras. One another big selling point of the Canon cameras is the dual pixel autofocus. C200 is equipped with the dual pixel autofocus, and it also has a touch screen. It comes with a touch screen. We have a bare body version of the C200 also, but the touch screen is something which will be very handy if your work requires the autofocus capabilities of a particular camera. C200, when clubbed with any of the Canon native lenses, this is a fantastic combo for the run and gun things where autofocus is a crucial stuff. You might have, for the folks who use Canon 70D or 80D, you might have noticed this performance in your cameras. Even the higher end cameras, the C100 and C300, have firmware upgrades to enable the particular autofocus feature. But as I told you, autofocus is one thing. If it is very crucial to you, C200 is something which you have to look forward to. Let's have a quick look at the chats, what's going on there. Okay, let me quickly answer a few questions what we have here. Prashant asked me, what do you think about switching completely to Panasonic DSLR? So when you're talking about Panasonic DSLR, I think, Prashant, you're referring to the GH4 or GH5 series. One thing that you have to see is, though the GH4 and GH5 are marked as fantastic video cameras, they do pretty well in the photo aspect also. But what I want to very explicitly mention here is, if you are someone who is taking video seriously or doing majority of your work in video rather than photo, then definitely it makes sense for you to upgrade to it. Because when you compare a GH5 or a GH4 with the Sony equivalent, then the price point is something which is a big plus. But the biggest downside of this particular system, especially the Panasonic GH4 or GH5, is the sensor, because it's a micro four thirds sensor. It's a tiny sensor, so the lenses you might have to, you have a lot of this competitive, you have to go for native lenses. But if you're using any of the Canon or Nikon lenses, then you might have to use an adapter. The adapter, if you're using a passive one, then you might have to live with the type of focal length. And if you're using anything like meta booms, those are again additional $600 to $700 investment. So you'll have to look at a lot of permutation and combination. What is that you want to do, and how much are you ready to spend after migrating from, say, Canon or Nikon into Panasonic. So, but if video is your primary goal, then I would definitely say Panasonic is something which you can go for. Sony has fantastic set, but for the price point and for the features thing, I definitely say GH5 is the best buy as of now in the market. So we have Chaitanya, who's asking a question about laptop under 50K. Chaitanya, I'm not sure if you're asking explicitly for video editing or photo editing, but probably I'll come back to your question. I need to look at options, especially on the Windows side of things, because on the Mac side, there isn't much available under the 50K. But Windows laptop side, especially when it comes to video editing, the Dell XPS 15 is something which I'm really excited about. I'm completely on a Mac ecosystem, so I don't have exposure to using Windows based PCs for editing photos or videos. But Dell XPS 15 is something to look forward to, but I'm not too sure if it is under the 50K price bracket, but I can check and I'll come back and comment on the video when it is posted on YouTube. Ahmed Khan asks, which is the best video editing software? See, if you're looking at the best, all of them are good. I primarily use Adobe Premiere Pro. I used to use Final Cut Pro X. Both of them are good. But if you want to start off, then I would definitely say start with what is there in your system right now. iMovie, which is available on the Mac, it's fantastic. There is no doubt about it. And same is the case with the Windows Movie Maker. I've even seen people use Cam Studio for basic editing and posting to YouTube. They are good. I'll probably have a video coming up soon about video editing software, both the free and the paid versions. So you might want to look forward to that. So that's about the questions that we have as of now. Hope that answers. If you have any more questions, especially regarding this new cameras that has come up, please do enter in the live chat, or probably if you're one of them who is seeing this after it has been posted in YouTube, please do comment in the video your thoughts on the new cameras, especially the C200 from the Canon or the EVA1 from Panasonic. What are your thoughts about it? If you're someone who is currently in the DSLR ecosystem, are you willing to upgrade to any of these? And what are the challenges that you might think you might face when you upgrade them? So this is about the new cameras that got launched recently. And one another thing that I wanted to talk about in this particular video is the new drone launch. Everyone might have seen in the news websites about this tiny new drone that DJI launched. This is called the DJI Spark. Okay, DJI is famous for the Phantom series, the Inspire, and you have the Mavic Pro. When Mavic was released, I was completely fascinated by the whole form factor and what it could do. So Mavic was a fantastic drone to have, but while we get over all this drone regulations and importing and all those things, because I personally am a Phantom user and I wanted to upgrade to a Mavic Pro, but owing to all these drone regulations that we have here in India and probably even across the world, we were having some challenges in procuring these drones. So while I was having a look at this, DJI silently announced this new drone called DJI Spark. It's a very tiny form factor drone that DJI has released. This is more of like an entry-level drone, and I wouldn't say it is meant for professional purposes, because this is not a 4K drone, and the camera cannot shoot 4K. This is just a full HD camera, unlike the Mavic, which can shoot 4K. But having said that, though this is tiny and small and all the stuff, you can see it here in the picture that you're seeing on the screen, it probably is of the size of a mobile phone, a 5 or a 5.5 inch screen size mobile phone that we use right now. For a drone of this particular size, the capability of this drone is huge. The feature set it comes with is fantastic. And we are talking about a price point of about 499 or $500 for this drone, which is close to half of what a Mavic Pro cost in market right now. So if you are an enthusiast, and if you're not doing videos for your professional stuff, or if you want to use a fun little drone which you can easily carry in your backpack, this is something which you have to look forward to, because 4K might be a overhead for you guys. So a 1080p from this is something which you might actually like, and it comes with whole lot of features. I in fact like even had a look at the it even comes with a lot of colors, fancy colors like white, red, blue, and all those things. So this drone, this particular drone, it has a 1080p camera, and it has two axis stabilization. So unlike the higher end brothers, this just has about two axis stabilization, whereas the other ones have about three axis stabilization. The best part about this particular drone, which I like the most, is the gesture control and the facial recognition. So you can launch this particular drone from your palm, and you can make it land on your palm. So it's as simple as that. And even you can use gesture control to make the drone fly farther away or call it back for landing. So this is something which I found very interesting, and I would call this as like innovation when it comes to drone, because when it comes to drone, we are talking about complex controllers and all those things, but having an ability to control a drone using your palm and facial recognition is something fantastic. And though it's a tiny drone, it comes with the all obstacle avoidance and return to home feature and all those things that you find in higher end drone. And it has about, I think, four specific features, especially something called a drone, wherein you can make it fly away from you, and a rocket mode wherein it faces down, it can take off vertically, and things like helix and even circle. These are features which are found in very high-end drones, and they made it as a feature in an affordable $500 drone, entry-level drone. So this is something you must look forward to if you're keen on investing on a drone, and you don't want to make a big hole in your pocket by spending thousands of dollars. This is definitely something you can look forward to. So this is the DJI Spark, and I presume it's available shortly, and I think it's available for pre-order already on the DJI side. But this is something which has got me excited over the last 1 or 2 weeks, considering the feature set as well as the price point when it comes to the drones. So that's about the drone. We spoke about two cameras that launched and the drones. So what are your thoughts on this drone and the cameras? Please let me know in the live chat, or probably even in the comments if you're watching this later on. So this is what I wanted to address in this live stream. Things like what are the new launches, what are the new technology things that are coming up in the market, and probably in the coming weeks when we do future episodes, we even probably will pick up like a photo feature or a video feature. We'll talk about certain videos, why, how it is done, why it is done in a certain way, and things like that. So this is the main agenda of this particular live stream that I'll probably be doing only on the weekends. The regular videos, the tutorial videos, the DIY videos, and all the training videos will be on a weekday thing. And this thing live stream is only on weekend. This I will be uploading this particular video also on the main channel, but having said that, the actual live stream will happen only on a weekend. I will please fix the time. So yesterday was a test stream that I did last evening. So probably we'll do it on a Saturday evening or a Sunday evening going forward at a prefix time, say about like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock Indian time. So if there is any specific questions that you would like to ask, feel free to shout out. I'll be around for some time. And looking at the chats again, there's no new questions. Okay. So we are live for close to about like 19 minutes now. So that's it, guys. That's from my side for this very first live stream from the Tecknowlogy YouTube channel. Hope you liked it, and most importantly, please do subscribe to the channel so that you get regular updates on the weekly uploads as well as the live stream when I plan them. And if you like the video, if you like the live streaming, please hit the thumbs up and do comment what you would you like to discuss in the future episodes, or if there is any specific training or tutorials that you would like to see on this particular channel. So that's it from my end. This is me, Shiv, signing off. It's almost 3 o'clock here now on Sunday. We're about 5 minutes away from the very important match that I mentioned in the earlier part of the live stream. So let's move on and get over to the match, and I'll catch you guys in the next week. Thank you very much.